There are concert moments that you watch, enjoy, and move on from. And then there are moments that stop time. Moments that make 65,000 people simultaneously forget how to breathe. Moments that fans will describe to their grandchildren in vivid detail, saying, "I was there. I saw it with my own eyes." And no, you cannot fully understand it unless you were in that stadium. What happened on May 23, 2026, at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas was the second kind. Jimin took the stage as part of BTS's Arirang World Tour, 4 sold-out nights in Las Vegas, one of the most anticipated K-pop concert events in the history of that city. But in the middle of all that spectacle, the lights, the crowd of 65,000 screaming fans, the production scale that only BTS can pull off, something happened that nobody planned. Something that couldn't have been rehearsed, scripted, or recreated on demand. During the performance of Body to Body, Jimin went completely off script. He stepped into a freestyle dance that left the entire stadium breathless, executed a double spin that seemed to defy the laws of physics and human coordination, and then melted into a groove so deep, so effortlessly sensual, that fancam videos shot from 50 different angles all capture the exact same reaction from the crowd. Pure, uncontrollable chaos. By morning, Jimin braids was the #1 trending topic in the United States. Videos of that 30-second freestyle had already crossed 1 million views. And fans around the world were asking the same question. What just happened? Where does a moment like that even come from? To answer that question, you have to understand who ParkJimin is. Not just as a performer, but as a human being who has spent his entire conscious life learning to make his body speak. ParkJimin was born on October 13, 1995, in Busan, South Korea. He grew up in a city known for its heat, its directness, its stubborn refusal to be anything other than exactly what it is. Busan is not the polished center of Korean culture, that's Seoul. Busan is rawer, louder, more emotional. And if you've ever watched Jimin perform without the filter of careful choreography, you can feel that city in his bones. He started dancing seriously at Busan High School of Arts, studying contemporary dance, not idol training, not the manufactured perfection of K-pop practice rooms, but the kind of dance that starts from inside the body and works outward. Contemporary dance teaches you to feel the music before you execute it. It teaches you that the most powerful thing a dancer can do is not the cleanest technique, but the most honest one. Jimin was good enough that he was accepted into Big Hit Entertainment as a trainee, and within 2 years, he was debuting in BTS. But his contemporary dance background never left him. It lived underneath all the synchronized choreography, all the precision, all the years of group performance. It was always there waiting, and it showed up on May 23rd, in Las Vegas, in 30 seconds that nobody will ever forget. Here is something that most people don't fully appreciate about K-pop performance at the highest level. The freestyle moments are actually the hardest part. The choreography you see in BTS performances, the synchronized arm waves, the perfectly timed formations, the moments where all 7 members become a single organism, that takes months to master. But once it's mastered, it's muscle memory. The body knows what to do. The brain can almost relax. Freestyle is the opposite. Freestyle is you, the music and nothing else. No map, no net, no choreography to fall back on if your brain goes blank. Just your body and your instincts and 65,000 people watching every single thing you do in real time. This is why most performers, even extraordinary ones, keep freestyle to a minimum. The risk is too high. One moment of uncertainty, 1/2 second where your body hesitates, and the crowd feels it. They don't know why they feel it, but they do. Jimin has never been afraid of freestyle. In fact, throughout BTS's history, the moments where Jimin goes off script have consistently become the moments fans talk about the longest. There's something in the way his body processes music, something almost involuntary, like the music reaches him before he consciously hears it. That makes his freestyle moments feel less like performance and more like confession. What he did in Las Vegas on May 23rd was the highest expression of that. Let's talk about what actually happened, because the details matter. Body to Body is one of the tracks from BTS's 6th Korean language studio album Arirang, released on March 20th, 2026. The song is built on a low, pulsing groove, the kind of bass frequency that you feel in your chest before your ears process it. It's a song about closeness, about the space between 2 people collapsing, about the way bodies communicate when words become insufficient. It is, in other words, a song that was practically written to be danced to rather than just performed. When BTS performs body to body in a concert setting, there is a section, a specific musical break in the middle of the track, where the choreography opens up. The structure deliberately creates space, and it is in that space that Jimin took over. The double spin came first. Clean, controlled, impossibly fast given the weight and momentum involved. He didn't use the kind of theatrical arms outstretched technique you see in ballet, or even in most idol performance. He kept himself compact, coiled, spinning from the core, the kind of spin that contemporary dancers train for years to execute with that quality. 2 full rotations, clean landing, no adjustment, as if gravity was a suggestion rather than a law. And then the groove. If the double spin was Jimin showing you his technique, what came next was Jimin showing you his soul. The groove that followed the spin was slow, deliberate, deeply physical in a way that was completely controlled and yet somehow looked like pure instinct. His hips, his shoulders, the way his weight shifted, it was all one continuous conversation between his body and the music. Not a conversation he was having in that moment, a conversation he has been having his entire life. The crowd didn't just cheer. They screamed. 65,000 people, and you could hear individual voices losing their minds over a 30-second freestyle. There is a concept in dance and in music called musicality, the ability to not just hear music but to feel it, to respond to it, to let it move through you rather than just over you. True musicality is rare. You can train technique. You can train timing. You cannot train someone to have the quality that Jimin has, where it looks like the music is controlling his body rather than the other way around. Watch any video of that Las Vegas freestyle. Watch it without sound first. You will still be able to hear the music because his body is telling you exactly what it sounds like. The rhythm is in his hips. The bass is in his chest. The melody is in his arms. His body is a translation of the song into 3-dimensional space, and the translation is so accurate that you don't need the audio. This is what makes Jimin's freestyle moments different from most other performers at his level. Freestyle for most performers is about freedom, about doing what you want. For Jimin, freestyle is about truth, about letting the music tell the truth through your body. It's actually more disciplined than choreography because the discipline is internal. There's no external structure to hold you accountable. The only thing holding you accountable is your own honesty. And Jimin, when the music takes him, is extraordinarily honest. After the military service hiatus, after nearly 2 years away from the stage, there was a question that floated through the army fanbase, unspoken but present. Would he still have it? Would the extended break, the physical changes of military life, the simple passage of time, would any of that have altered the connection between Jimin and performance that everyone had taken for granted? The first concerts of the Arirang World Tour in April 2026 started answering that question. The concerts in Tampa, in El Paso, at Stanford Stadium in San Francisco, each one showed ARMY that Jimin hadn't just maintained his connection to performance. He deepened it. Military service in South Korea is physically demanding, but it also involves a particular kind of stillness and discipline that is in some ways similar to the training elite dancers undergo. Learning to control the body under pressure, learning to be present in circumstances that are profoundly uncomfortable, learning the difference between what your body is doing and what you want it to do. Jimin came back from that service as a more complete performer. The rawness was still there. The instinct was still there. But there was a new kind of authority in how he moved. A settledness, like someone who has made peace with all of the things that used to scare them. The Las Vegas freestyle was the fullest expression of that new Jimin. He didn't just perform. He inhabited the stage with the confidence of someone who has been through something genuinely difficult and come out the other side knowing exactly who they are. Let's zoom out for a second and put this in context, because the Las Vegas freestyle didn't happen in isolation. It happened in the middle of a month that was, by any objective measure, one of the most remarkable of Jimin's entire career. On May 8th, just 2 weeks before the Las Vegas concerts, who officially reached 2.4 billion streams on Spotify. That's not a typo. 2.4 billion streams for a single solo track, making it the first solo song by an Asian artist without a featured collaborator to reach that milestone. A song that was still charting on Spotify's daily top songs global list more than 650 days after its release. On May 12th, it was confirmed that Jimin had surpassed 6.8 billion total Spotify streams across his 22 pure solo tracks, without a single collaboration with a Western artist. First and only K-pop solo artist to achieve that. On May 17th, his second album Muse crossed 4 billion Spotify streams, again, fastest for any Korean-language solo album in history. Also on May 17th, BTS was officially inducted into the Guinness World Records Icon List for 2026, the first Asian act and the only musical group on a list that includes Taylor Swift, Beyoncé, Drake, Elton John, Paul McCartney, and Dolly Parton. And then on May 20th, Jimin took first place in the May 2026 Idol Personal Brand Reputation Rankings, his 58th #1 finish in that category. For context, no other idol in K-pop history has come close to that number of consecutive top rankings. And then May 23rd, Las Vegas, Body to Body, 30 seconds of pure, unrepeatable magic. The reason that freestyle will never happen again is not because Jimin won't freestyle again. He will. He has done it at every major concert, in different forms, for his entire career. The reason it will never happen again is because that moment was the product of an exact, unrepeatable combination of circumstances. The crowd in that specific stadium, on that specific night. The energy that 65,000 people generate when they have been waiting for years to be in the same room as the person they love most as a performer. The particular way the bass of Body to Body hit the speakers at Allegiant Stadium. The way Jimin was feeling at exactly that moment. The weight of everything he had come through. The joy of being back. The pure physical pleasure of performing after everything he had endured. You can recreate the choreography. You can recreate the stage, the lights, the set list. You cannot recreate that exact cocktail of emotion and instinct and circumstance. That moment was singular. It happened once. It will exist forever in the memories of everyone who was there, and in the fan cam videos that fans will be watching for decades. There is something important to say about what Jimin represents for the global conversation about what a performer can be. For a long time, and to some extent still, the narrative around K-pop idol performance focused on precision, synchronization, the group as a unified whole. Individual expression was secondary to collective excellence. That was and remains a legitimate and beautiful form of performance. BTS itself is a master of that form. But Jimin has always pushed against the limits of that framework. Not by defying it, not by breaking the rules of group performance, but by insisting that within the structure of what BTS does, there is room for individual truth. Room for the body to say something that the choreography hasn't scripted. Room for 30 seconds of freestyle that cannot be planned. And what's remarkable is that when Jimin does this, when he steps into that unscripted space, it doesn't break the performance. It elevates it, because the audience feels the difference between a performer who is executing flawlessly and a performer who is actually, genuinely inside the music. They may not be able to articulate the difference, but they feel it. The fact that Jimin Braids was trending #1 in the United States the next morning wasn't just about the aesthetic of his hairstyle. It was about the fact that every single person in that stadium had experienced something they had not anticipated experiencing, and they needed to talk about it. As BTS continues the Arirang World Tour, heading deeper into the summer, toward the FIFA World Cup 2026 halftime show at MetLife Stadium in July, towards 79 shows across 34 markets through March 2027, there will be more moments, more records, more milestones, more nights when Jimin does something on a stage that makes 65,000 people forget how to breathe. But the body-to-body freestyle at Las Vegas on May 23rd, 2026 will hold its place in the canon of great Jimin moments for a specific reason. It was the moment when the world got the clearest possible look at who ParkJimin is when nothing is scripted, nothing is choreographed, nothing is planned. When it is just him and the music and the truth of everything he has lived through to get to that stage. His body moved on its own. And in doing so, it said more than words could. If you're new to this channel, welcome! We cover BTS and especially Jimin with the depth and accuracy that these moments deserve. Hit that subscribe button if you want to be here every time something extraordinary happens. And right now in 2026, extraordinary is basically Jimin's default setting. Drop a comment below telling me, were you there in Las Vegas? Or if you watched the fan cam, what was your reaction when you saw that double spin? I read every comment, and I want to hear from you. Like this video if you believe that some performance moments deserve to be documented seriously, not just clipped and scrolled past. Share it with anyone who needs to understand why ParkJimin is in a completely different category as a performer. And I'll see you in the next one, because the Arirang World Tour is far from over, and I have a feeling the best moments are still ahead.